Hello, my name is Zain, and I'm going to interview Rachel Sussman, the author and the photographer of the oldest things in the world. Let's go see her now. Hi Rachel.
So nice to meet you, Zain.
Tell me more about your life.
So I'm an artist, but I'm an artist who works with scientists. And I live in New York, but I have traveled all over the world to every single continent looking for things that have been alive for 2,000 years and longer. So I call the project The Oldest Living Things in the World. And I was working on it for 10 years, which I think is longer than you've been alive.
1 year longer.
1 year longer.
Which one do you prefer, science or art?
That's a trick question. The nice thing is that you don't have to choose a favorite. So for me, they're both really important. So I love working with scientists, and I think in a lot of ways, scientists and artists think in the same way because they're both trying to discover something or make something new and following their interests. And so for me as an artist, it was great to be able to say, I'm interested in this part of science, so I want to include that in my artwork. And that's a very special thing. So, and it could be anything. It could be philosophy or geography or history. So whatever you're interested in, you can combine together. You don't always have to follow one specialized discipline.
How come this has been living for 2,000 years and it hasn't even decayed?
That's a good question, and actually it has decayed a little bit. So the giant baobab trees, as they get older, they decay in the center. So they get a little hollow, the wood gets soft and pulpy. So it's hard for them to live much longer than 2,000 years. So the baobab trees, there are some trees in South Africa where people use the inside of the tree for different things. So somebody put a bar inside one and a prison, and one of them they use for a toilet.
What?
Yes, I know, it's crazy, right?
They should really take care of the environment instead of using it for their purposes.
I agree with you. Absolutely. So don't scratch your name in a tree and don't use it as a toilet, for sure.
Can you climb it?
You can try. It's so steep and the bark is really smooth, so it's hard, but I bet you could do it. So this is very unique because these are called stromatolites, and stromatolites are part living and part non-living.
How did it get into the water?
Well, so there's a lot of questions about these. So they're made up of bacteria and non-living things like sand and silt and things that have washed down, and they've combined together to make these shapes. And so the bacteria is called cyanobacteria. You can keep that in mind or not, it's not important. But the thing that's most interesting is that's one of the very earliest living things on Earth. So your question, how did it get in the water? One question is, how did it get to Earth to begin with? This is just a theory, but there's a chance that bacteria could have been sitting on a meteorite and landed on Earth somewhere. So maybe the stromatolites grew out of that. We're not sure. The very first ones started forming 3.5 billion years ago.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Rachel, what's this?
That is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of everybody's favorite photographs or organisms from the project because it is so weird looking. So sometimes people have guessed, is it an alien?
Really?
Yeah, or often people would guess it looks like moss growing on top of rocks, but that's not right either. So what it is, it's a shrub. So it is thousands of branches, and at the end of each branch are a cluster of little green leaves, and they're really densely packed together. So you could stand and walk on top of this.
Is it edible?
It is not edible. So, but one thing that it does do well, and this is sort of a thing that makes it endangered a bit, is that it's very good for fuel. So to burn. So we obviously don't want that to happen. So these are protected, so people don't burn them, but sometimes they do. So this is one of those times where we want to protect these organisms, even though it might be tempting to use them. And these are related. The Ureta plant is related to things like carrots and parsley and things like that. This is a very special tree. This is a spruce tree living in Sweden, and it's 9,550 years old. The reason the exact location of the spruce is hidden is because the scientists don't want to encourage too many people to go disrupt the environment around it. For 9,500 years of its life, it was only that tall. And for the past 50 or so years, this part grew. And the reason that happened is because it got warmer. So the scientists say that this is like visualizing climate change.
Thanks for showing me all your pictures and sharing interesting information with me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad to meet you, and you're obviously so interested in learning about things. So it's always great for me to talk to kids and adults, anybody who's interested in learning and exploring. So I can tell that you like to do that.
So I'll see you next time.
Okay, see you next time.
It was great to meet Rachel and learn about the oldest things in the world. Well, my name is Zain, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.